It's not widely known that our government does not operate under the Constitution as it was written. Rather, it operates under the Constitution as interpreted by the Supreme Court. Congress taxes and spends money on issues that originally belonged to the states. The question then is, what can be done to recreate government as written under the Constitution? George Mason, a Virginia delegate involved in the writing of the Constitution, had the foresight to consider that. He knew there would come a day when centralized power would grow too big, and he came up with a solution. That solution is Article 5 of our Constitution. Under Article 5, if two-thirds of our states agree to hold what is called a convention of states, they can gather to amend our Constitution, and neither Congress nor any other power can override that decision. Currently, there are 15 of the 34 states needed to agree to a convention of states that are on board. That leaves 19 states that are left that need to sign on. That's where we, the people, can help. In today's You Don't Know Jack, I'll be going into some brief but specific detail on how people can take action. George's rant will focus on debunking the argument against a convention of states and arm you for discussions you may have with others about this. For now, George and I will share some thoughts. With that said, Georgie, why don't you share your initial thoughts on this?
Yeah, so we've done a lot of looking into this. We actually got onto the website for convention of states because Jack and I were tossing this idea around. A quick Google search led us to a website called the Convention of States, where they've been working on this for a while. They're the organizers of this. They're the ones who have gotten it to the point, or have significantly helped to get it to the point that it's at right now, and really have done a great job in educating people as to what it is, why it's valid, why it is the way. And in the end, Jack and I agree. We registered. We registered on to volunteer, knowing that we're going to be supporting this anyway. I highly encourage everyone in every state. I live in California. Jack lives in California. Getting California to sign on to a convention of states, I think everyone can understand, is an uphill battle. However, it doesn't mean that we can't get 38 states on board, and that's what we need, right? So the way that it works, the way that the convention itself works, 34 states agree. It goes to convention. No help from Congress. No help from the federal. No say at all from Congress, either the House, Senate, Judiciary, Executive. Nobody gets a say. This is strictly handled by the states. So in Article 5, there's two ways to do it. Congress can propose it with a two-thirds majority in each house, or the states can propose it with two-thirds majority of the states, of the state legislatures. Now, the way it's always been done before has been the Congress option, because it's never had to be done against Congress. So the reason the other option is in there is, as Jack said, our founders understood, and the general thesis and the general belief of how this country was formed out of fear of a central government gone wild. What's happening today was well understood to be the natural occurrence of what happens to any central government, even one like ours, with all of the checks and balances designed to keep it under control. And here we are. And now this is an effective way. If anyone told you that the Congress gets involved somehow, or there's some way for the Congress to stop it, or that is absolutely false. Absolutely false. And I'm going to get into some of the arguments that you'll hear when you bring this up to people, because believe it or not, the left there was an attempt at this in the 60s, and the left has been on message ever since, to the point now where what their talking points were then are now parroting out of the mouths of Republicans. And we're going to get into in some of these states, and we're going to get into what those are, who some of these people are, and how we can put them on blast, and how we can make sure that we storm the internet capital, if you will, and make sure that we're getting out there with our voices the same way the left does. They don't have rights on activism, and there's nothing wrong with with being activist if your cause is right.
You know what? That sums it up, George. I mean, fact of the matter is that you and I are going to apply our years of being in sales and just being a dog with a bone. This is doable, and we need to convince the folks out there that it is doable. Provide a clear path, and I'm looking forward to it because something has to be done.
And I just think it's awesome, and I think it's majestic to even look at the fact that the founders saw this coming to the
Hmm.
point where they put something like this in. Like it just tells you how much they understood of what the federal government would eventually become, inevitably, by nature. That
Yeah,
they looked at what they had written and were like, well, wait a minute. I could see a scenario where this ends really bad, you know?
yeah,
And every other nation ever in the history of man did not have this option. And we ourselves have now we say we've never used it, but the Bill of Rights was actually brought about because of it, right? So Virginia, I believe it and then other states jumping on were insisting on the passage of a Bill of Rights, and then the feds just got ahead of it and proposed it on their own, and then so hence it went through the Congress way instead of through the states. But that was one of those deals where they knew it was coming, and the Convention of States actually did, in its own right, force it to happen. And this is what I was telling you before. Like, if any amendment gets through, so what they're trying to put through here, just so people understand that, right? It's the balanced budget amendment. So they want to put through an amendment to the Constitution that forces the federal government to have a balanced budget every year. Okay, they want term limits on Congress, and they want to restrict federal overreach.
yep, yep. Well, that's what we're going for. So, to you folks that are out there listening, you know, stick with us throughout the show. Let us show you what's going on, and let's see if we can't get you on board with us.
Get on board, folks. The train is leaving the station.